This podcast is brought to you by 2 More Reps Coffee Beans. Get your 2 more reps with this natural pre-workout. Buy your bag at 2morereps.com.au. Welcome to another episode of the Paul's Body Engineering Podcast. So hopefully the background noise is not too loud and everyone can hear this clearly. We're sitting in a bar area of the restaurant in Goa of all places, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to grab all 3 judges from ICN India as well as the president and have a chat about the show that literally finished very late yesterday. But firstly, let me introduce everyone. So we've got obviously Monique Hooper, judge and posing coach, Joey Cantlin, judge and coach, Leon Stensholm, judge and coach, and did decide to turn up this time, and Jay Acharya, ICN India president. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Excellent. How are we all feeling, first and foremost? Because yesterday was a massive, massive day. Like we finished. What time did we get back? 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, it would have been.
And we were there at about 6:30 a.m.
Ready to go again?
Yeah, you ready to roll again?
Ready for day 3?
Yeah, day 3 next year.
Well, that might be a day 3. That might be on the cards actually, given what we saw. But let's talk about Goa overall. Like we spent 6 hours at registration, and the flow of athletes was just non-stop. And then I think it was a 10 or 11 hour day on Saturday with the model day, the muscle day, sorry, and then the model day yesterday was nothing short of epic, was it really?
Yeah.
What's just give us your 1 minute take home from the weekend that we just witnessed. Jay, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think it was fantastic to say the least with regards to the turnout, even the balance of males to females. I think I'm really happy about that. We saw a lot more ladies jumping on, which has been a focus since the last podcast as well, that hey, we want to see more girls jump on, so that definitely happened. To not cut it short of what it was a great event.
Yeah.
We ran it to a good time, I think, and overall the feedback has just been absolutely insane, that they've never seen anything like this in India before, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted to deliver a professional show with the integrity and honesty, a fair and level playing field for the athletes that have worked so hard, and of course I think we delivered on that by all means, if not over-delivered in a good sense.
Yeah. What about you 3 in terms of judging and just what you witnessed yesterday?
Yeah, I think there's a huge increase in gratefulness within the sport.
Good
I
point.
think that's the greatest thing I see with these athletes here in India is that, yesterday we can give them constructive feedback, good criticism, so to speak, and they'll take it very nicely. Like, look, you're always going to get your 1 in 20 that's
Yes.
just not going to be happy, but the law of averages, I think most of the people that we encountered, we're very grateful for just our presence, and I think it wasn't just about the judging. I think that was that having us from Western over here, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But I think our job also to engage and acknowledge and not make the athletes feel comfortable, not overwhelmed or nervous or anxious on stage. And I think that was the thing that we were trying to portray is, look like we were very engaging.
Yep.
and knowing that they can actually engage to us if they want feedback, conversations, photos, and so it's like it turns into a big friendly type community. It's not a some events, some athletes, and this is feedback straight from the Indians as well. Though a lot of them can be intimidated that have done prior shows.
Yep.
By them, they look like they're getting judged by so-called security, and they constantly feel like they've done something wrong.
Straight face and sitting up. Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to make a big effort to engage in registration, but on show day as well. Just acknowledging, clapping, standing, cheering, singing, whatever it took, just to make the athletes feel comfortable. Let them know that we're on their side.
Yep. Absolutely. Joey?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to add anything to that because I agree with all of it. Just the gratefulness, the gratitude from all the competitors. I guess accepting us into their country and their way of doing things and how they do it at their show.
Good point.
And overall, just the standard of the athlete. Like, obviously, when we first came to Goa 3 years ago, there were quite clearly some standouts, but being a first show for the federation, the standard can be hit and miss, and that's the same for any show. And then this year throughout, which we'll discuss later, but this show in particular, like there were divisions of 15, and there were 8 or 9 competitors in those divisions that could have won an overall at any other show. So I guess that it's a positive, but it's also a negative for us judges, because some people legitimately have to miss out, and it's not because they don't look amazing, but like Liam was saying, you know, the gratitude and the gratefulness and willingness to accept the constructive criticism and feedback that, you know, they ask for, to say, okay, I understand and I can't wait to come back and do better, where, you know, you see a lot of competitors, you know, back home, you know, get the shits if they don't win or place or something like that, whereas here they say like, okay, thank you for the feedback, I promise I will do better next time. It's almost like they want to please as a
do
judge,
better,
which I just find is fascinating, and that's something that I really love.
Well, it's almost so refreshing too, isn't it? Like we could, as Australians, we could learn a lot from their gratitude, they're so grateful for the opportunity. Like I mentioned to you guys in the car ride home yesterday, there was a girl in sports, I clearly saw her, she placed 5th, and she was in tears. She was so happy to have made the podium, she was just wrapped.
And just on that, Joey, like there's a massive challenge, I think, moving forward for us, knowing that the numbers are so huge, the competitors are so big. What you'll find now is you are going to get a lot more criticism, because you've got divisions of 15 athletes, and like Joey said, 8 to 10 of them win overalls, they look incredible. So now you're going to have coaches and friends and family asking, why did my friend, so to speak, come 5th or 6th, or they didn't even place top 5? Very hard for you to say, well, the other guy
Came down to the
better
smallest
because,
thing.
you know, they looked amazing.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our challenge moving forward.
100%. Moni, what's your take? Obviously, female perspective, you would have been stoked with the amount of girls that were there yesterday.
That's 100%. I was absolutely stoked. Obviously, from first Goa show, we only had a handful of girls,
It was only
and not to say they weren't amazing. Like there were some really great girls, but moving through each show, we've got progressively a few more. But yesterday, it just blew up.
Yeah.
There was so many more girls. We had new divisions for the females. We had posing like we've not seen before. We had energy. We had beautiful stage presence. We had girls that really went above and beyond with their costume choice, from street model to runway, and even swimsuit. We had some stunning swimsuits.
Yeah.
And we had our first 2 pros.
How good?
Like,
They
amazing.
were legitimate.
They were legit
That's
pros.
the thing too, you didn't just hand them out because you felt you had to.
They could be on a world stage, and they will be competitive.
Yeah.
Straight up. And I so desperately wanted that to happen, but I didn't expect it to happen.
No.
So to have 2, I'm stoked. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And I know that those 2 girls will, and as will all the girls and women, they're going to really inspire more girls to keep coming back, because we had we had really young girls through to girls of more years. Like, I'm not sure what the oldest age might have been, but it may have been over 50, if not very close.
Yeah, around that.
So it's not a game, it's not a thing that young girls can do, and that's the exciting thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm stoked.
Well, that's it. You guys were even just before talking about how good the bikini overall winner was. Like,
Beautiful.
and that's just, the ripple effect is going to be massive
And
from that.
can I say, she was bikini overall winner who would be holding her own on a world stage.
Yeah.
She was a bikini mama.
Yeah.
She was a bikini 30
I think she won
plus.
3 or 4 divisions. Yeah.
Mum, 30 plus.
Yeah. How good?
Not 18 years old.
No.
So it's not just for the young ones. I'm stoked.
Do you have any favourite moments yesterday? Like, we were talking about the under 23 male physique lineup. Like, that was, from what I saw, that was next level. Like, that would have hands down knocked over most Australians.
I just want to add one more thing to that last part.
Yeah.
Something that I get a big sense of over here is that obviously everyone who does bodybuilding does it for very many reasons. You know, some people do it for, you know, the social gain, the financial gain. Some people do it to be competitive. Whereas a lot of the people over here do it because it's considered healthy. You know, it's a good way to live. You know, eating right, working out, and the competition is much more than a competition. To them, it's more than just getting a first place or a third place or getting a medal or a trophy. For them, it's an opportunity to show off their hard work and actually just show their body, which is why you see guys and ladies, like I said, that lady who come off that division, she was fists and clapping their hands and begging their family to come up on stage.
Yeah.
When they place third or fourth.
Yeah.
Because to them it's more than just a medal, and that to me is just so
Awesome.
special.
Yeah.
And on the top of that, just made me think, what was the bodybuilding guy's name that was there?
Million song.
Yeah, so remember when he got up and he spoke, and something just resonated in my head when he spoke about the lack of education through the health and fitness industry within India, and what he was saying about what's happened obviously with FIT, but what with obviously specifically with ICN India, is it's laying a platform for these guys, to live that healthy lifestyle, eat better, move more, train more, and actually have a goal to actually compete and do it beyond drug free. Do it beyond like one show. It becomes their way of life. And that's one thing that he was trying to be an advocate for, and I thought that was really cool. And I'm thinking that this what Jay has founded here. It's something special that it's not just giving a platform for for entertainment purposes. This is a change in the way that these people live.
Well, that's a good point. It's also stimulated careers. Like, look how many coaches there were now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember that in Goa last time, even earlier this year. Like, the amount of coaches that got up with their athletes when they won. It's
They
just.
just get up. They
They were so pumped, and
the whole family's getting up
the
there.
amount of respect they showed too. Like, they took off their medal and gave it to the coach to put it back on, and then they touched their feet, and that whole respect thing is it's really, really
Maybe you
amazing.
guys touch my feet.
I've seen your feet.
I'm expecting nothing less from it.
That's right. It's a mandatory requirement now when we come over here.
That's a hint for everyone listening in.
Yeah, you want to do.
You see me at a show next time, you know what to do.
You want better results? Touch their feet. But yeah, let's move on to favourite moments. Like, I know it's been a bit of a heavy couple of days, and your heads are probably still spinning. But like I just mentioned, the under 23 male physique, I was blown away by the calibre of not only the athlete, but just the quality of the lineup. I think there was 17 all up, and from what I could tell backstage looking at you three, you were having a hard time making a decision on that one in particular.
Yeah, just getting down to the last couple. I don't know how long that last fight, that maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes just on the top two potentially, but once we narrowed it down there, we still couldn't decide.
How good's that? But like under 23, like you don't see that in Australia. At that level.
I guess that's one of the things, touching on what all of you guys said, is with ICN India, with what we're doing here, we're not doing it just for entertainment. I'm trying to include as many people as I can, so that's why we've gone and created the teenage categories, which ICN never had. That was invented here, all the teenage categories from 15 to 19 years of age, and the juniors 23 and under. So that's kind of shaping the youth to stick to the natural side of the sport. Exactly, and know that there is opportunities in India now with a platform that supports you both naturally and with the perspective of potentially going overseas to compete.
Yeah.
And then again, on the other end of the scale is like the new divisions, like Miss Runway 40 plus. Just giving the ability to ladies who've recently transformed, that might have the old orthodox mindset that some Indian families do have, that you can't be in too much revealing clothes. At least there's a category there where they can still get up and showcase that. They've recently transformed, or their family's starting to warm to that side of things. And then also did the same thing for men's runway.
Yeah. Oh, how good was that? Like, that was the highlight of the day.
Yeah,
So good.
It's just a great category for people who, again, want to kind of test the waters, dip their toes in and go, okay, cool, this is something for me. And even if they've transformed recently and don't have the confidence to take their shirts off, it's just a great category. So my point is, though, circling back, we're trying to create something for everyone. And that's why I've coined the term here as natural fitness. I think the natural fitness community, just your average Joes who want to be fit and healthy, there's more of them than the enhanced side of the users of the sport in India. And so if we can tap into that market, not only is it just great for obviously us as a federation, but it's great for them. It gives them a platform to come and compete, enjoy, and the ripple effect is there, especially in India. The best moments, I think, for me are seeing those moments that the mothers come on stage, the family, the friends, the tears, just giving them that chance to live out and experience the best that they can for all the hard work that they've done, and enjoy that with their friends and family. I think I call them ICN moments in my head, ICN India moments, and that's kind of the moments that I think really resonates with people and gives them a lasting image of, okay, it's not just a bodybuilding event, it's more than that.
Yeah. Well, that is reinforced by the fact that the crowd did not waver the
No.
whole day. Like we were there 12 hours or whatever it was, and it was full the whole time.
Yep.
Which is just unbelievable. What about you guys? You have favourite moments?
Well, mine's a bit boring, but the fact of the reality is there was this huge passion within these athletes, especially with let's say the ones that they won
Yeah.
did really well. But I love nothing better than seeing, mate, you see these guys, especially like the few of them that won, obviously some of them won, mate, they were banging on the floor,
Yeah.
they were screaming in the air. I'm just looking at that guy, man, that was the highlight of their life.
Yeah.
You're talking grown men
Yeah.
getting a medal on them, and the medal is the highlight of their life. And some of them, even I was speaking to one this morning that plays fourth, and he's posted a couple of photos, and he said that was the highlight of his life. And going, this guy, I don't know, maybe he was mid-20s or something like that.
Yep.
It was his highlight of his life.
Yeah.
He had a partner and stuff like that. And that, I think, just says in 25 years of his living, that moment that was created from ICN India created someone's lifelong memories, man. And that was ongoing all during the day, and I could feel that, you know what I mean? And for me, that's hard to tell.
Yep, 100%. I agree. Joe, what do you reckon? Favourite moment? It's a whirlwind.
It's pretty hard to pick a specific favourite moment
No.
of division, so I'm not going to necessarily do that.
Which is praise to the event.
But that's right. That's a positive. Yeah.
I think I'm not going to say the favourite thing, but one of the coolest things of the show was actually really weird, but this year I was on duty for figuring out how many medals we needed for each division.
Right.
Right. On Sunday, there were 61 categories, which obviously requires 61 first place medals.
Yep.
Not counting the overalls. Can anyone remember how many fifth place medals we need?
Yep.
Probably the same.
57.
Oh.
So that means out of
Every
61
category.
categories, there was only 4 divisions that had less than 5. Like, for people who have been going to shows like as long as we have, like I've been going to shows for nearly a decade,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've seen anything like that unless it was at a nationals or a world, and even that, like you still get the old division where you have 1 or 2 in it. Like I think we had one division where there was only 2 competitors, and that was the men's physique 50 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. There was 60 second place medals, 61, 63rd, 64th, and 57 fifths, and that just goes to show like the level, I guess, of involvement,
Yeah.
and how much people are like clamoring for this event. Like we had 9 men's physique first timers classes. Like, I have never
No.
seen anything like that. Like you might get 3 or 4 like a standard
Yeah.
ICN show, and it'd be like 7 to 8 per division. We had 9 classes of 10 to 15.
They were capped. Yeah.
Like,
Well, the average was about 12 people
yeah,
per.
and the standard was just like quality. Like
Yeah.
just, it's just incredible. So,
What was the achievement medals? 210?
no,
310.
310
Yeah,
classes
okay,
for
311
the
on one
entire day, which just goes to show how many
That
how
was
many
Sunday.
entries we had and how many people are wanting to get around this and be part of, what's becoming a bit of a community.
Yeah.
It's just unreal. The show was like from the get go, it's just incredible, from the standard to the attitude of the athletes to how it was ran. Like it's just, I can't say a bad thing about it.
There you go. How good.
Next level.
Lonnie?
Well, obviously everything everyone's already said.
Sure.
The moments get me, and I cry a lot when I'm on the judging table. Like Paulie will watch me, and I'm like, don't run my mascara. Just because those moments, they always get me. But I can't go past awarding our 2 first female pros. Sorry, I can't go past that. That's
Yeah.
special. Like that's big.
So it wasn't me putting the sash on someone correctly.
Oh, I'm proud of you for doing that. And Leon, you're no longer putting sash on girls.
I've got my responsibility back. Yes.
I studied that on the way up to, I looked at it going, okay, go left for this.
So you
is
should
right
have
way,
done the
right
right
way,
thing
right
and
way,
turned
right
around
way.
and checked quickly.
Yes. When you were doing it, my seat was pushed back, and I said to Joey,
We're sitting there going,
I can't
oh, no.
go, can I?
Oh no.
Can I
Oh,
go?
no,
Can
no.
I go? And I was slowly turning, and then even when Denzel came over, he's got there eventually.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
These things happen. It's a
have-
live event, okay? We can't edit that.
we will do some practicing as we did with the trophy girls. We'll practice some sash and the crown. We'll
I've
practice.
actually never got it wrong, and the more I overthought on how to do it, the worse I got
Yes,
it.
you did.
I shouldn't have not thought about it.
Don't think about it, just do it.
At least had a 50-50 gig of getting it right.
All you've got to do is look at the way the writing is
Yeah.
and go, okay, writing,
Left
body.
down to the right.
Yeah.
I did that. and then she bent down, and then I thought I had it, and then Denzel grabbed it at the same time, and like.
Oh,
then
it's
it
Denzel's fault.
was all over. No, I'll take it. I was the lesser person up there.
While we're just chatting about that though, I'm going to give a shout out to Denzel and the trophy girls yesterday.
They were good.
They were amazing.
They were good.
You know, doing the trophies and the medals can get overwhelming with so many, and yeah, big shout out. They were really,
absolutely.
really good.
It's actually a part of a show, like it's a part of a show that I never like actually really thought about, because I've never before we started, you know, doing stuff with ICN India, I'd never really like been deep into the depths of setting up a show,
Yeah.
helping set up a show. I didn't realise, like I just never even thought of how confusing that kind of stuff can
Is,
get.
yeah.
Like, when Scotty first showed me a medal matrix, I was like, what the fuck do you need a medal matrix for?
Yep.
It's like, well, you have to know how many placings you can be faced.
No.
Like I just thought you got a shitload of trophies. Alright, this is your zone, you hand them out.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we take for granted, don't we?
Accurate, big shout out.
Yeah.
So many elements to it. There's
Yeah.
just different areas like the backstage, the front of stage, the middle of the stage, the front, the administration
Yes. Yeah.
side, and then there's little things, sub-elements within those as well that you've got to tick off. And
Like an
Absolutely.
onion, a show has many, many layers.
We were
Nice one,
hungry-
Donkey.
We were hungry on day one, and we wanted food, and not knowing that so did 80 other people.
Exactly.
We were the judges, but there was also tanning people,
Yeah.
there were trophy people,
Yeah.
there were backstage people, there was everyone doing registration. There,
Yeah.
someone did
Security, there was
something,
heaps.
You know what I mean? You don't realise there
Nah.
was 80 people to feed or thereabouts. You
Yeah.
don't realise there's so many hands involved in putting the show together.
Absolutely. Just going back to the favourite thing, one of mine has been the disabled category. I'd like to,
Yes.
just to see the excitement of those guys to have the opportunity.
Yep.
And that's obviously credit to you, Jay. Like we obviously had it in the previous shows this year too, but we don't have excuses for not making a bodybuilding show when these guys turn up in the condition that they do,
Unbelievable.
get up the stairs and do their thing. It's just, yeah, it's unreal. It really is impressive. So let's look, and this is going to be hard to do, reflect back on the year, because we obviously had 4 shows this year. Obviously Leon wasn't present for the first one in Bangalore, but
Due to other commitments.
yeah, that's right. He was at a conference, very important. Obviously we had Delhi, then we went to Mumbai 4 weeks ago, which seems like a lifetime ago now, and then this show. But Jay, do you want to start us off in terms of, look, just how, starting 2022 before the show's kicked off till now, like, did your perception of how the year was going to go, and now sitting now, upon reflection, did the two equal, or have you exceeded expectation?
Yeah, it's a good question, Paulie. Like, it still feels surreal being here and thinking back, doing a quick review in my mind of, okay, when we sat down in 2022, I can remember a couple of us got together and we're like, oh, we're planning to do this, you know, travel looks like it's opening back up, COVID's kind of subsiding. So, like, looking at it now, it still feels surreal to me. I'd say the year went fairly accordingly to how we had planned it with regards to numbers. I think Goa exceeded, or very heavily exceeded, what I thought would happen. We knew it was going to be a great show, and the build up till then from Bangalore to Delhi to Mumbai was great. We saw that every show we were increasing the quality, the caliber, the athlete count was increasing for men and ladies as well.
Yep.
But getting to Goa, I think we really exceeded expectations, and of course delivered on what we wanted. So for me, it's great to kind of look back. Something Leon said to me is just reflect once something's done. And I kind of did that last night when I was just sitting out. I was awake till I think 3:30 or 4 in the morning. And Sunny and I were just chatting. And I was sitting there for a brief moment. And he kind of asked me like, "Jay, you blanked out." I was just thinking, it's crazy to think that at the start of the year, from the discussions to these are the shows that we're going to do, to creating the posters for those events, to actually being there, finishing the show, and one by one just ticking them off the list, and then finally being here with the final show done and getting all the numbers and breaking so many Indian records with it. it's just wild. So I'd say, to answer your question, yeah, I think it's been a fantastic year. And of course, I think we've met expectations and slightly gone above them as well,
Yeah.
which is something that I'm quite happy about. Like Leon just touched on before, it's not easy, and Joey did as well. There's just so many elements to it that when we're at the front of the stage, either coaching or competing, we don't see. But when you get to the other side, you kind of go, oh wow, there is so much more to it.
Yep.
And so again, relating that back to the point that having to set up the shows, especially being overseas and running, the business here and back home in Australia, it's just crazy to think that we've been able to put this together. Majority of the time we've been, over back home. So if you think about the days, Bangalore show 2 days, Delhi 1 day, so that's 3 days, Mumbai another day, so that's 4 days, and then 2 days here, 5 days. So for 5 days, we've put together 5 days worth of events, all from overseas, and 5 days doesn't sound like much, but this is months and months and months of planning.
Yeah. I
But
think,
hey,
that's it's impressive, and like you just touched on COVID too. Obviously, we were here in 2019, and the objective of that show was to build some momentum and then carry it through into 2020, and obviously that got kiboshed. So, no one would have begrudged you for just going, we missed our opportunity, but you came back with a wet sail. Like this year's been pretty impressive. So you got to take some credit and sit back and just appreciate what you've achieved, given the obstacles you've faced too. And we bore witness to that 2 days ago. Or the last 2 days, sorry.
Reflecting with no complacency though.
Yeah.
You sit in the moment and go, hey man, this is cool, great. And I think it's like anything with, any success or anything that you've achieved that's great. It's sitting there and reflect, all right, okay, next day we go to the new goals, where we going now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't sit in that moment, you're going to keep missing your moments. And then what gets you to that end result is then moments along the way. If you don't cherish or sit in them, that's what people miss. And before you know it, you just become on that Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And you just go, and you don't even know where you're going because you haven't stopped to see what you've achieved along the way. And all your focus is on where am I going or what haven't I achieved
Not
yet,
the present, but the
as opposed to
future,
what have you achieved.
Yeah.
And sometimes their mini goals or wins along the way is what take you that next step. I think Jay just nailed it right there.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be much. For some people at business, again, intelligent people like Jay, he would have sat there maybe 10 minutes and reflected and done and dusted, got it, mate, great moment. Love it, got my little buzzies, endorphins and dopamine and serotonin for that 10 minutes. But hang on, it is, but that's what you do, mate. But if you miss that little gap, I'm telling you, you'll go on to the next thing, before you know it, 3 years goes and you're still chasing something that you don't know where the end game is because you haven't put all these little dots along the way.
Good point.
And I hope all the athletes have done that now.
Yeah.
Have taken that moment to stop, reflect, be stoked with their achievements, enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
But then now, okay, what's next?
What's next?
And loud and clear for anyone listening, Paulie, to understand exactly what Monique just said then, man. Like, what you have achieved, sit there and do acknowledge it, and then get back to the drawing board.
100%.
Basically.
Yeah.
And probably appreciate now when you do go to a show and you walk away, the show might be an hour later or 2 hours later, or you think something wasn't right, or the music stopped, or the judging you didn't think
The power went out.
Look, I understand there's so many moving parts that are actually out of the promoter's hands at times.
Yeah.
And there are so many moving parts, so many people working behind the scenes that people don't understand. And I personally didn't understand. I totally respect for these promoters out there in every association. It's a non-stop 24/7 gig, mate.
Yeah.
What it gets involved to get to that show or to make this year happen.
Yeah.
I know Jay, mate. We live 3 minutes around the corner. I only see him in Goa.
Yeah.
And Delhi and non-existing Bangalore. I see you more in India than I see him in my own home suburb. But that's because he's working non-stop. It doesn't stop.
Would you say, and I'll get all three of you to take, would you say as we progress through the shows, Bangalore into Delhi, into Mumbai, now Goa, that from a organisational perspective, the show's improved in terms of streamline, in terms of running, in terms of on time? Obviously Mumbai was an exception, but I think we from my perspective, got a lot of the little things right towards the back end of the year. Do you guys see it the same way?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything, like as something gets bigger or more impressive, there becomes more layers to it.
Yeah.
So, for example, like we still ran behind for both days at Goa, but we've never had that many runway competitors.
Yeah.
Like
categories. Of
Yeah, that's something that we can potentially look to do better next time.
Yeah.
But just on face value, people say, well, the show didn't run any better. Yeah, but we added this.
Yeah.
We added this.
Yes.
We added this.
Good point.
For the first time.
Yep.
So as you progress, there are more and more layers that you just have to keep facing. So yeah, absolutely. Although we still didn't run perfectly at the time, and at some points in the day we were ahead. Like I
Yeah,
said.
we were. Yeah.
But it only takes a few little things, and also a few really tough physique divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the show ran 10 times smoother than every other show. Like I said, Mumbai is an exception, but from Bangalore, then on to Delhi,
Yeah.
to Mumbai, now on to Goa. It's all running so much better.
Yeah.
It's just so much
Absolutely.
Then have a look also what was presented yesterday from Jay as well. Every single division winner had their family
Yeah.
on stage and their coaches on stage. So
there's 2 or 3 minutes.
and not once did Jay MC and actually brush them off. He let them have their moment.
Yeah.
Again, this is a moment. It's about the athlete.
Yep.
And the athlete and the family. So why you go, okay, well, we were an hour late. Like there was still an hour and a half worth of family moments.
Yeah.
And I think that's the pinnacle thing that I think is amazing. So there, when you talk about time, that's something different here, that it's just part of it, but that's what's going to be the success.
You can't take that away from the show.
No,
Like
no.
those little things, that's what keeps athletes wanting to come back, because it becomes more than a competition. It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the coaches moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Oh,
the coaches
absolutely.
Get up on stage
Well,
with their athletes. It's amazing.
Heaps of them come back to me and thank me for obviously backstage running or whatever, and I said, well, I want to thank you, because at the end of the day, without you, if you're not here, we don't have anything to do. We don't have a show.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they turn up, they pay their entry fees, and they do all the hard work. So we do not have a show without them. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I still love the humility of them. It's certainly something that Australians could take a leaf out of. That's for sure. Yeah, that's
Take
it.
the whole bloody
Take the whole tree.
yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the judging side of things, how did you guys find your I guess evolution into judging throughout the year? Like, it got easier between the three of you. You obviously had a system in place from the start, or it got better as the weeks, the shows went on, I suppose.
We have a system now.
We have a
Yeah.
system now. Yeah.
We've figured out, like, we were discussing this yesterday. Some shows have 5 judges, some shows have 7, some have 9, some have 2. I think 3 is the perfect number.
Yeah.
It's enough to have a swinging vote if
Yeah.
there's 2 people who don't agree on a decision.
Yep.
And respectfully don't agree.
Yeah.
Of course.
We don't argue, like, there's none of that. But we figured out a seating pattern, figured out, generally who swings the vote, usually Monty,
Yeah.
and I tabulate and write everything down. Boom. We have a system now, and I think from when we first started to now,
It's doing well.
Yeah.
much smoother.
Much
Yeah,
smoother.
cool.
And I think even like the fact that, this whole thing, remember me and Jay were talking about this 7 years ago, and that's how it all sort of started. And just because, he said I was the first one to come on, sit at the judging table, but I always say there's no egotistic on the table. Joey is personally more experienced than I was a judge coming into this. So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, well, hang on, no, I'm meant to do this, and I'm going to have all the calls come down to me. For me, I just looked at it and go, no, I'll sit there and do my job and do this. But Joey is very fast and efficient in it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that we wanted the show to run that way. So, because there's no egotistic on the panel, that's why it works. We had some great discussions.
I was going to say,
Just gotta get it right.
also too.
Yeah, personally,
The
that's it.
comment of 2 to 1 or swinging it which way. We also don't really leave it like that though.
No, it's not to that
but
point.
it's actually we get along so well. We have so much respect for each other. There's no ego. There's no anything that if someone has a difference of opinion, we're like, okay, tell me why. Okay, when we discuss it, we talk every decision through, and we all 9 times out of 10 we all come then to the same agreement at the end. It's not, we don't ever go 2 verse 1, too bad, too sad, nah, and move on. We talk everything through, and I think that's really important when it comes to judging, because it's easy to overlook someone, but if someone else has picked it up, we can talk it through, and
Well,
it's really fair. I feel that the judging is really fair because everyone does get a look.
it also just comes back to the point we were making earlier. It's about the competitors.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not about. We're not on stage.
No.
Like, it's not about us. Like, we're
No.
there to make it a fair competition for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
award, one through to the end.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's just how it is, and you can't let ego get in the way of that because I've been sitting on judging panels for 6 years, various federations, and I tell you now, and just being at shows in general,
Yes.
and knowing certain people who judge, yada yada yada. Ego gets in the way of decisions being correct.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many shows I've been to, and I've looked at it and thought, I'm not on the panel, so I don't know, but I'd be very interested to know how they came to that.
Politics
decision.
can play a role, can't it?
Whose ego got in the way? It's you can't do that because if you want people to keep coming back to your shows, you have to get it right.
Yep.
And for a lot of people, it's what makes a show. Correct judging. I know people that leave federations because they don't like how it's judged.
100%. Yeah.
So for us, it's just about making sure we get it right regardless of our personal feeling.
And big names, as the lot more we hear big names, you start knowing names and great athletes.
Yeah.
And one thing I remember when Jason Morgan come out, and an incredible fitness athlete, and he walked out in one lineup, and one thing I said to Monique, okay, let's just remove Jason's name for a second. Let's start this whole judging, because he's winning most things out there and he looks incredible on that day. But we said when he walked out, I said, hey, let's just take his name out for a second.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple other guys here that's going to be a great battle. Because it's very easy to get biased and just go, these are all first timers. Oh, Jason, we first straight off the bat. And that's one thing I've learned fast off the bat. You just got to walk in with a clean slate.
Every single
I don't care
time.
if they competed 2 hours earlier.
Yeah.
I don't bother me.
You have to judge it as a ranking division.
Things change.
Assume that every, and also the whole, is this person enhanced? A lot of federations will mark people down because they, quote unquote, think the athlete is enhanced. You can't do that. You have to judge that athlete on an assumption that they're natural. It's a natural show. Also, if a competitor has beaten another competitor in a previous division, you don't open your book and say, well, we placed this ahead of that before, so that's how it's going to be. No, you judge it as a fresh division because physiques can change. So regardless of someone's name, regardless of what they've done in the past, regardless of what they've placed on the day, it doesn't matter. You have to judge it as a complete separate division.
And for the athlete, they can come out in one division and go backstage and have an hour and come out looking way sharper, posed way better, or worse.
Yeah.
It swings both ways.
Yeah.
So those placings, even if it's a similar lineup, those placings could dramatically change because of what that athlete does
Especially when
backstage.
it's close as what it was.
Exactly.
Some of those divisions came down to point. Half a point.
And there's your point when backstage where you hear athletes or coaches say, oh, this client got beaten by such and such, and they went out together in the same division, then the roles reversed and the decision reversed. It's like, well, there's your answer. You're judging it brand new. Sometimes that person's got a bit flatter, or actually they come better. They weren't as stressed. They pose better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just for coaches and spectators of the sport, just understand that there's reasons for a judge's decision.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and we always do our best to get it right. Sometimes.
Well, it's a subjective sport at the end of the day, isn't it? There's no finish line. It's based on your interpretation of the criteria.
And the great thing is, after the show, you can get feedback. The results are not hidden in a locked vault thrown in the bottom of the ocean. The feedback is there if you want it. If you want to grow and learn and come back better again, the feedback's there for you. Like, we want everyone to do well. We're not sitting there going, oh, we don't like this person, they're not doing well. We want everyone to do well. So we want you to get your feedback and learn and grow and come back better.
Actually, since you made that point, Monty, and Paulie, this was a couple of questions ago, moments, just to add to some of the favourite moments.
Yeah.
There was a competitor in Mumbai, a young teenage guy.
Oh,
We discussed
yes.
this. He came in, we didn't even really play, well, he didn't place, and he was upset, and he was sending messages like, this is unfair, this, that, and the rest. And I very nicely talked to him and said, look, the judging was on point, but at the end of the day, on that day, you weren't the sharpest that you should have been or expected that you were. Work harder and show us a whole new package for Goa. And this kid worked and worked and worked, and he came back out, and he was fantastic. He almost won that juniors division, the teenage division. Yeah, he came in second. And just a change from 4 weeks from where he was in Mumbai with, I shouldn't say this, but the truth be told, he had a really bad attitude. He was just being a poor sportsman that, no, they didn't even look at me, they didn't do this, didn't do that, I should have won. And then being told, no, you definitely shouldn't have won, no offense, but you weren't even placed, and there's a good reason for that. To coming, 4 weeks to where we are now, and coming second and almost winning, and looking the way he did, that's the biggest thing. It's not really about the win or not, but he came back with a better package. And so I'd add that into the moments as well. That he's taken advice and feedback and used it constructively to light a fire under his ass, so to speak, and then come back, stronger. And that's kind of what I said to him.
I respect that. Like,
Absolutely.
someone who's very competitive himself, or at least I was as a kid, I understand how easy it is to get frustrated when you don't win. Even if you know in your heart you didn't deserve it, you're gonna be frustrated. You're probably looking for someone to blame. But that's completely fine. You're allowed to be frustrated and pissed off at yourself, at everyone, as long as you take a breath and go, all right, now I go back to the drawing board and I get better. When it comes to bodybuilding, I always say, as a coach as well, I always say to my own clients, if you really, really badly want to win, get yourself in such good shape that it's not left up to a point. That it's beyond doubt.
Become undeniable.
And I really respect what that kid did. He had his dummy spit, got his feet back, and came back, and he looked incredible.
And he'll be able to reflect on that himself, to look back and go, wow, in a month's time when he's in his off season, he'll see, wow, look at my photos from X to Z. Now I can see what I've done wrong. You know what I mean? So it's that emotional response.
It's the emotion,
in these situations that make people say things that maybe they maybe wish they didn't. But
Absolutely.
Most people see it a few months down the track. It's just that, and I think it's important for any coach, judge, or president like Jay is the way that we respond to their messages. It is based on emotions. So you don't want to react and go, well, this guy's a this or that. It's like, we respect, man, the guys who put their heart and soul into it wasn't the result that they wanted. It's like someone losing the World Cup at the moment, what I mean? Like the Brazilian team get knocked out. Well, of course it's going to hurt. They're going to look for answers and this and that. At the end of the day, the ball hit the post 5 times. Sometimes it's just not your day, and sometimes it's not your day.
Good point. Good point. Absolutely. So based on what we obviously witnessed over the last 2 days and the last 12 months for that matter, 2023 has got to be pretty big, you would have to assume. I know you haven't locked in any dates or shows as yet, other than it's pretty safe to say that Goa will be back. And I'd be if I was a betting man, which I am, I'd put
a dollar, bro.
We'll put a dollar. But I think the odds are pretty.
Either way.
The odds are pretty short that Goa will be a 3-day event, I reckon, based on.
What's the line, Paulie? 2.5?
Oh, it's got. I'd be paying $1.06 at best, mate. She's pretty short. So yeah, don't go. You have to put it in a multi or something.
I'll take the over on 2.5.
Okay,
I think it'll be over.
It's over for sure. But is there anything you could sort of tell us about next year, Jay? That's in the works. I know we're only not even 24 hours out of Goa's show, but. All things are pretty much leading to a pretty big next year, right?
You're already first.
We're obviously going to go full steam ahead next year as well. Does that mean like 5, 6, 7 shows? No. I'll probably go 3 or 4 shows rather than increasing the count. And the reason is because I would rather have 3 shows or 4 shows that are bigger, in between Mumbai to the Goa size, and have one to top it off at the end of the year, which would be the Goa show. That's kind of become our flagship event. What I can say is Goa obviously is definitely locked in again for next year, and yes, it probably will be 2 days or more. Pending, because if this show is anything to go by, we had to close entries, and that's something that I haven't brought up.
True. Good point.
Because we got close to the limit of stock. The extra medals that we made, we put in an extra large order, 35% over what we needed just in case. And I think we've used a fair bit of what we had ordered initially. I know there's a bit of stock left over, but from bags, shakers, everything's almost gone. And that's why we closed the show. So if that's anything to go by, next year could be something that we potentially break a world record. And that's what we're trying to go for, the largest individual and entry-based show. And I think we can do that quite easily. We've got the population in India, and I think with what we've done and delivered this year, we've got more than enough momentum to hit that. With other shows, I want to kind of hit a couple of new cities, so we're just tossing and turning about that. One city that is locked in, not the date just yet, is Chennai. and that's back in South. It's a great developing area in the South for health and fitness, and there's just so much demand for us to do a show there, as there is almost in every part of India, but one where I kind of just see a big opportunity to get in and give that area and the locals there a chance to taste what ICN India delivers, so to speak. And then 2 other shows. Obviously, we know that one show, if I say that it's Chennai and the other one's Goa, it's figuring out where the third one is going to be and when. Do I go back to Mumbai because Mumbai will always have great competitors come through, or do I go further north? So it's trying to figure out geographically as well where we're going to hit, because obviously Goa and Mumbai are kind of on the west coast, Chennai's on the south, and that way we're not covering anything in the north. So it's still in a decision phase where do we go back to Delhi, do we try hit it again and scale it, which I think we will this time. There's a lot of demand for up that way. But like I said, what I can definitely say is Chennai's going to be a new show, new theme, new show. That's what we try to do every show as well. Goal's locked in, and then the third one's yet to be announced, and potentially a fourth. Let's see what the demand is like. Again, going back to the basic principles of, supply needs demand. To have the demand, you need the supply, and to have the supply, you've got to meet the demand, otherwise you're just going to have stock sitting there.
100%.
Which I think we've created. So I think on both ends of the scale, we're definitely moving in the way that we want to, and 3 shows definite with a potential 4th.
That's cool. That's exciting. So I guess these 3 buffets are locked in.
Yep.
Okay.
4.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, you're self-included.
The +1.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's exciting. Oh well, let's we'll wrap it up, because I know you've got a million things you've got to do post show, which again is something else that people don't realise. All the sending off the drug tests, and you guys have probably got a mountain of feedback you've got to get to as well, and all the other bells and whistles that come with the show that a lot of people don't see. But is there any final words just based on the year we've had? Because I guess we go back a couple of years now, even beyond 2019. Like, this opportunity we weren't aware of, so it's pretty cool to know the fact that we're sitting here in India, of all places, on the other side of the world. Having just knocked over what can only be described as just an epic show. And like Joey just said before, we've all been involved in shows for years and years and years as competitors, coaches, etc. And that truly was one of the best I've been involved in, by a long way. Just in terms of how it was run, how it was judged, and the level of athlete was just, there's no words for it. It was epic.
Yeah.
So, anyone got any final words?
I think it's pretty exciting for the next 5 years. I'm always a big long-term vision goal setter, and I think this year, me and Jay, speak about this first year was almost obviously technically setting us with COVID, but this year was the foundation year to go, what have we got? What can we build on? Let's start here. And then I think now, again, Jay will have us again, or we've got all the data now, so to speak, and then you can improve on that for next year, and then you can just see the evolution of the sport here in India going a whole nother tier.
Oh yeah.
It's not going backwards. It
No.
ain't gone backwards, and I think it's not just going to draw in crowd and athletes, it's going to go well beyond that, and I see that for the next 5 years' time, I think that's the big exciting thing.
Might have to live here,
I
right?
think we have to strap our seats in and just get comfortable and just go for the ride, and that's the exciting part of thinking anything, because you don't know where this is going to go, and I think that's the exciting part of the journey, but you do know it's going to good places.
100%. What about you guys? Anything for?
Yeah, I just echo that. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Not just for next year, but for the next 3, 5, 10 years, as long as Jane wants me to be a part of it. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Excited.
You get to room with me, mate, all this time.
I know.
It's like, hey, you feel like rooming,
I'll be sleeping next to you. I sit next to my bloody girlfriend. Come on.
we haven't even had a fight yet, have we?
I know.
No
We
fights,
haven't had our first tiff
nothing
yet.
yet.
We still got one day.
Yeah.
What about you, Mon? You must be pretty proud of the evolution of the female side of the sport.
I am so proud, and like some of these girls I've worked with on their posing for months, and to look back, and I've asked a couple of them to put together some videos, because some of them like so scared, so nervous, ma'am, I can't do this, and then to see them on stage, there was a couple that I did get teary because I know their journey.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So any woman, anyone like female out there who thinks I can't do this, you can.
Yeah.
We have runway, we have street model. You can do this. It's not just you've got to flex your big muscles and hit some poses that are going to scare your next door neighbor.
Yep.
Like, we've got those beautiful categories. Women's bodybuilding isn't what you have in your head.
Yeah. Good point.
It's beauty, it's elegance, it's grace. Yes, I want to see misfigure athletes, and we will get there.
Yeah.
The baby steps, one step at a time.
Yeah.
We've got street model, we've got runway, and then we've got sports. And I was so excited too to see some girls this time stepping into Miss Fitness and figure.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Absolutely. That's a
yeah.
really good point you make, because like we go back to Australia and it's dominated by females.
It is dominated by females.
Bikini sports, fitness is so popular.
Yeah.
Whereas over here it's a complete reversal.
Yeah.
So speaking of your 5 years ahead, like we're probably going to get to a point where it's 50-50.
I hope that comes much sooner than 5 years.
Yeah.
I really do.
Oh well, based on like if you look at the
And it probably would,
And
you know.
yeah.
yeah. Well, look at the female competitor numbers in Delhi, Bangalore, and Mumbai compared to yesterday.
Absolutely.
Like it was trebled.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if you use that as a bit of a guide, next year you're probably going to see 3 times as many again.
Yeah. And I'm going to put out there to any coaches of female athletes,
Yeah.
encourage them.
Yeah.
If they're already in that gym, they're already there dieting, they're already there training, encourage them.
Mm.
Give them something, give them a
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
Give them Miss Runway, Miss Street, give them that goal.
Yeah.
Encourage them, push them there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep their journey, you know, from coaches' perspective with the athletes, and keep their journey, you know, sensible and realistic and understandable. Like they just think, oh, cool, it's going to be a 6-week, you know, transformation, and we're going to go on stage, which it can be, but try to like play the long game in the sport.
Yeah.
Knowing that you know, you can, you know, get ready for a show, and let's say it's 12 months from now, and you can compete.
Yep.
But don't just think, oh, I want to compete. There's a lot of health sides to the sport. that people don't
Absolutely.
talk about
Well,
as well.
that comes down to what the point you raised earlier in the podcast in regards to the knowledge and the education around health and fitness. So these coaches that we spoke about are going to learn, and they'll continue to learn now that they've got a profession in that industry, in that sport, and it will get better, and their health will become the priority as we do back home.
And that was one thing too, we started to notice some familiar coaches popping up around,
Yeah.
and we're seeing some coaches who are now gone from one athlete to now I've got 10 athletes.
Yeah.
So their business is booming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're a coach, look at this like a business opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And
Start putting some effort into some athletes, get them on the stage, and you yourself are going to become that coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got to start looking after these athletes like, you know, the coach from the coach's perspective.
Absolutely.
Like your own kids.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you want to keep them in the sport for the long term.
Yeah.
Now, that this sport is something that, you know, you don't want to be doing, you know, 15 shows in 3 years. There's times where you've got to step out a little bit, and I think educating, I think that could, you know, that could be part 2 of this, to go, you know what, this is how you keep your athletes in the game for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just want to, you know, throw them and then just throw them on stage week after week after week and then burn them out, and those athletes will no longer compete again.
Yeah.
We want to live that healthy lifestyle along the way.
Just wanted to add one more thing that all of you guys have kind of said, and it's that I think we're at a good time to be doing ICN India as well, because in India they're becoming more health conscious, and it's evident with the education side of things. Indian parents, or Orthodox Indian parents, have always wanted their kids to either be a doctor, an accountant, an engineer, some sort of a dentist, or something along those lines, or a hotel manager.
Very white
type thing.
collar, yeah.
That's it. And now you're starting to see that they're encouraging their kids to get into stuff like, you know, sports nutrition, physiotherapy, dietetics, and that side of sport now is encouraged. Back in the day, I know if someone wanted to do something like that, it would be a big no-no. And the kids weren't allowed to do that. It would be a strict no from the parents that, no, you're not doing that. You're either being an accountant, an engineer, that's it, essentially, or a doctor.
Yep.
And now it's starting to move towards, you know, that other side of the sport. Well, side of the sport is starting to move towards the other side of the education, where parents are open to it and people are starting to go into that. And we experienced that in Delhi. Remember at the sports university that we went to, the pharmaceuticals place, and all those people were excited to be doing their sports nutrition and pharmaceutical degrees, and they had the element of sports to it as well. So that's a big trend. I think we've kind of caught on to something, and if we can get the momentum right, which I feel we are, and nail, it'll be something that's unprecedented. The opportunities there for all of us, and I think we do have a great team. There's no egos here. No one here is egotistical in the sense that not just on the judging panel, but whether it's front stage, backstage, we all work quite well, and we've ironed out kinks as we go, and we're getting better and better. And I think by next year we'll have hit our stride, and if we keep improving, not getting complacent, I just think we can deliver insane shows. I think, Joe, was it you that had said we might need to do a 5-day event where you've got 1 day physique, 1 One day fitness, yeah, classic physique, one day sports model, one day.
It might get to that.
You guys laugh, but I wasn't kidding.
No, I think it's really plausible.
9 first timers,
Yeah.
nine classes of first timers.
Yeah.
So come on.
That was
Yeah.
bigger than the Delhi show itself, just our men's physique first timer class
Like-
alone.
What are you supposed
Well,
to do?
I come out to you yesterday towards the end, and I said, mate, do you want me to bring out all the overalls in one hit? Because we're not going to fit them on the stage.
Overall class 1, overall class 2.
Yeah, it was hectic. I was concerned that they were going to fall off the stage or something, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously, you had the idea of bending them around. But yeah, that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I think what Jade, just to finish off what Jade just said, then that was the perfect point what you raised then about, you know, what the original Indian family wanted, you know, was the professionals. Now, this also is a professional industry,
Yep.
next level professional. So, and that was my point of view to raise to go, it's important to let these parents know that, no, this sport can be done healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, it's going to be up to, I believe personally, us to breed that culture in to the coaches, which then stems to the athletes, which then goes to the mum and dad and the families, and then stems down. Because you don't just want to have a production line of burning clients out front on stage.
Yeah.
Before you know it, their testosterone levels are dropped, they're suffering depression, anxiety, and before you know it, they won't be able to compete again. So you want to say this is their new way of life.
Yeah.
And this is how you compete, like those 50 pluses on the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then being myself, competing for 20 years.
Yeah.
It can be done. You just have to manage it really well.
Yep.
That's how you get it done. So I think that's also a big point that I reckon we can make a big difference there.
100%. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, well, we'll wrap that up because I know, like I said before, you guys have plenty to do. So we'll sign out, but obviously we will be back.
What are we signing?
Hey? Oh, you want to sign something? Yeah. We'll be back in 2023, but obviously, well, for the four of us, we'll probably see each other in. Well, I'll see you all the time, but the rest of it, I'll see you at dinner. But
I'll see Jay in Delhi.
Yeah, Chennai.
I was going to say I'll see you all next year at Goa.
Yeah, no, we'll see each other at the next bodybuilding show in Australia probably, but outside of that, yeah, we'll be back for sure. As long as we're welcome, we'll be coming back. So we'll sign out now, but thanks guys, appreciate your input, appreciate your time. We'll have to do another one of these next year, because obviously a lot more would have happened between now and then, but yeah, pretty exciting times. So I'll leave it at that.
Then you're
Done your bud.
Yeah.
Namaste. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.